Daka once again, Fiji, and welcome to another segment of Speak Your Mind. I'm your host, Sarafina Wedlock. Now, with us in studio today as guests for the show, we've got FENS Fiji. Now, that is the Foundation for the Education of Needy Children in Fiji. And we have with us the National Executive Coordinator, Mr. Choape Kwenikoro, and also the National Program Coordinator, Mrs. Mere Tikundondua Fonmoa. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and also good day to you.
It's good to be here.
All right. Now, first things first, the history of FENS Fiji. Tell us, how did the FENS Fiji all start?
FENS Fiji started in 2010. It was founded as a non-government, non-profit organization when a couple of the founders decided that they would try to give something back to Fiji. So on the initiative, the organization was founded.
Right.
This was 2010. It's been in operation now for over 4 years, going on to the fourth year now.
Okay. And what is FENS Fiji all about?
FENS Fiji, as you've already said, is Foundation for the Education of Needy Children. We look for money, and we target the neediest of the needy children, the most vulnerable, those that are really in need. We target the poorest of the poor families and offer scholarships to the children after considering the applications. And if they do meet our criteria, we pay for school fees when we used to pay school fees, that is, and other items like school bags, uniforms, textbooks.
Okay. Mrs. Fonmoa, you mentioned that in the beginning there's an inception process that they go through. How does this all work for FENS Fiji?
Well, first and foremost, we usually, because now we're 4 years, in the running, quite a few people know of us. So often what they do is they just come into our office. We have 3 offices Fiji-wide. We have one in Nandi, which covers the entire Western Division, one in Lambasa that covers the entire Northern Division, and ours in Suva, which of course covers Central Eastern Division. So when they come in, what happens is there's an initial interview. First of all, we have a feel, do they qualify under our criteria? And if they do, then we take it from there. There's a documentation process that needs to take place, and then they sit down and interview. I think there are other NGOs that have a similar service that they give out the forms, but for us, we take time to sit down with the family to generate what's called a case history.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And for those that come to the offices itself, this is where you have the sit-down process. But you also mentioned that some of your volunteers actually go out and to the communities. Yeah. Okay, what all does that entail?
Well, for those in the hard-to-reach interior areas or in the rural, what we often do is we'll go out and into the communities. Often we'll work with schools or with teachers, head teachers. They'll probably just say, there's a few families here that need your assistance. We can't make it all the way, or their main guardian is almost 80.
Yeah.
If you could send your team. So often we'll do that. We'll find if there is a situation that needs to be assisted, but they cannot make it to our offices, we'll send volunteers or staff to go in.
Also, this is really good. So that you are also working in collaboration with the schools, because more often than not, it's the schools that will know which students are suffering financially and which is not. Now, which schools normally is it all the schools in the country, or are there certain schools that you actually work closely with?
Well, mostly the public schools, because for the obvious reason that we cannot afford to to pay for school fees for private schools. So that's just way outside of our budget. But we have our schools that are located in the semi-rural to the semi-urban, even to the rural or maritime areas, where sources of income are cut off for them. So that's how we try to provide assistance to those kind of children in the outer rural schools.
Okay. Now, for the criteria, you said there's a certain criteria that the children have to meet, or that the families have to meet. What are some of the...
That's a pretty common question, and I guess everyone wants to know, so how do I qualify?
Yeah.
And I guess for Fiji, a lot of people are always saying, oh, well, I have, really good marks, or... So for ours, it's not, it doesn't really matter what you're, whether you're a top student or on the bottom percentile.
Yeah.
Basically, it's if the family, those that are earning, collectively earn less than $100 per week.
Okay.
And if you have 3 or more children, that's our main criteria.
Right.
Then you have other criteria such as physical disabilities, mental illnesses, or chronic illnesses. For those all come under our criteria. Also, for those who have assistance from the social welfare, we usually take them on as well, knowing that social welfare has also done their background checks.
Right.
And we also take into consideration guardians that are looking after multiple children that are in a needy situation.
Right.
And also single parents who are in a needy situation where there's only one source of income. So you may have like one father who's looking after, he probably earns $200 a week, but he has like 5 or 6 children.
That's right.
So like I was saying, it's not a cookie cutter method. We look at each situation, and we assess it on an individual basis.
Right. Now, what is the most common cases from the survey and also from the assistance that you have? What's the most common cases that you have received?
We have low-income earners for one, and for what you'll find for the Western and the Northern Division is seasonal workers or laborers. So what happens is they have maybe a couple of months they have income from cane cutting, and then the rest of the months of the year they have a piecemeal offering. So they work for a meal. So those are common cases in the West and the North. In the Central Eastern Division, it's often low-income earners or children who are under the care of their guardian, like grandparents or an auntie and an uncle.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kunikworo, apart from the funding for children, what other services does FANS Fiji also provide?
This year we have established 3 learning centers. One in the central, around Vodawanga, one down in the west, and one in up the north in Lambaso. The aim for those learning centers is to bring in the benefiting children, so that we can offer them extra services in terms of remedial classes.
Right.
We piloted this in Suva last year, and the results were very, very encouraging, where the results of some of the tests, some of the homework were much better than before they actually came to attend these remedial classes. So we've set up these learning centers offering remedial classes for those for the children that we support. Also, some of the children that we don't support come into the learning center, so we're not turning them away.
Right.
And some of the services also include, Mary has been working with some of the parents, some of the mothers, to try and find some economic ways of finding sources of money.
So they can be financially stable on their own.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So this is good. So you also empower families to try and make a better living for themselves and for the children as well.
And a couple of corporate organizations do arrange market days, Westpac, Hope
Nice,
Finance. So Mary has worked with some of her parents to
have handicraft stuff to sell at the market day. How has the response been from the families? Like, apart from assisting the children, but also going the extra mile and also assisting them in trying to basically fend for themselves. How has the response been from the families? Have some of them been welcoming of it, or have they been like a bit more, a bit hesitant?
It's actually been very, I would say, successful and for the parents fulfilling, because often when we fill out their forms, everyone just, most of them will just say unemployed. But then when you talk to them on a lower, off the record, then I'm actually just selling from home. Then we tell them, no, that's not unemployment, that's self-employment.
Exactly.
So just empowering and just rewording it so that, it sort of gives them that boost of, hang on, I am doing something.
Exactly.
It may not be on a weekly, income or, at a rate that they would hope for, but they are doing something about it.
Exactly. Well, we'll talk a little bit more with FANS Fiji. If you just joined us and you've got questions for our guest, well, you're more than welcome to call us up on 3220-906 or 907 or text us on 825. This is Speak Your Mind. Stay with us. More to come on Gold FM. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, and with us in studio once again, the Foundation for the Education of Needy Children in Fiji, or FEDS Fiji. We've got their National Executive Coordinator, Mr. Choape Kwinikoro, and also their National Program Coordinator, Mrs. Mere Tikondondua Fonmoa. Now, tell us a little bit more about the structure and also the process of FEDS Fiji, Mr. Kwinikoro.
We are governed by a board of trustees.
Mm-hmm.
And the staff report through to the Board of Trustees through the National Organizing and Management Committee.
Okay.
So we sort of work with them, and the Board of Trustees do all the decision making for us. Our auditors, our books are audited by professional auditors, GLAL,
Mm-hmm.
and that helps us in ensuring that there's transparency.
That's true.
There's accountability in every part of our process. Yeah.
Now, how many staff does FEDS Fiji actually employ?
We have 6 full-time staff. Yes,
6 full-time staff.
Yes, but we depend a lot on our volunteers.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, how many overall volunteers do you have?
It changes from time to time.
Oh, yeah, okay.
At the beginning of the term, that's when we need a lot of volunteers. So at about the time, we'll have about 10 to 15 volunteers helping us.
Now, let me get this right. This is 6 volunteers in the whole 3 offices across the country?
6 permanent staff.
Oh, 6 permanent staff.
Yes.
Okay, but how many part-time or casual staff that you have in your employment?
We have another 7.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. In the different offices.
But this is low period for us.
Yeah.
So comes the busy period for us. We ask for a lot of volunteers.
That's right.
But that is not counting the volunteers that come in on the Tuesdays and the Thursdays.
So that's a consistent volunteering.
Yeah, some volunteers come in on the Tuesdays and the Thursdays, or on the Saturdays in the north, to come and help us in the learning centers.
Oh.
For example, we have a group of volunteers from the
Help International.
They come from the States, so they've been helping us. I think last Thursday there were about 5, 6 of them that came in to help us in the Vatuanga Learning Center.
Oh, nice. Tell us a little bit more about these learning centers. How has what's the number of children basically that come in and take advantage of the facilities?
Thank you. It varies for the different centers. For our center in Lambasa in the north, we have up to 30 children.
Wow, that's a big number.
And we're really thankful for the Northern Division that we actually have school teachers who committed their time outside of classroom time. So they come in on Saturdays and they work with these kids. For our learning center in the Western Division, it's in the Navo area, so it's it's high up. It's in the rural area.
Right.
And we also have committed teachers. They're so dedicated, willing to take time out after school.
That's true, yeah.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays to go up and meet with the children. Initially, we had scoped 15 children. That's our sponsored children.
Yeah.
But I guess, you're living in a community where it's, it's small.
That's right. That's right.
Closely knit. We ended up having almost 25 children, so 10 more than we had expected.
And these are the ones that are not assisted by FEDS Fiji.
They're
taking advantage of the facilities that has been provided by FEDS Fiji. Now, this is a good thing because you're not only reaching out to the students that you're assisting, but you're also reaching out to the students within the community. Yeah, something that this is actually, I think FEDS Fiji should be proud of. Now, to be able to register as part of FEDS Fiji assistance, how can the families go about doing this? Apart from going onto your website or apart from coming to the offices, what other ways can they?
Often through the schools.
Okay, through the schools.
We have some contacts with the principals who know of us. And when we're sitting down to do interviews, one of our questions is, how did you hear of FEDS Fiji?
Okay.
So it's been radio, through TV, through provincial offices, even through social welfare and other NGOs who have referred us to them. And aside from that, we also have networks with Empower Pacific, with social welfare, and there's other NGOs who help them with who help our beneficiaries with maybe with some other issue that they're going through, maybe for counseling or housing assistance. And then they come to us for educational related assistance to do with children. Eh?
So you also work with these different organizations for the families. It's not only for the children, but also for the families.
Yes, for the entire families.
Oh, how has that been like working together and also contributing towards the stability of the families? How has it been for FANS Fiji? Has this been something that has triggered a lot more interest from the public?
I think a lot more can be done. In fact, one of our strategic objectives this year is to work much more closer with these NGOs.
Yeah.
So that, for example, there's no double dipping by some of the beneficiaries.
Right.
And also there were this duplication of work. We would like to understand what they do so that we help serve the communities much better.
Exactly.
That is not to say that we haven't been doing that.
Doing that, yeah.
Mayor has been busy working with some of the NGOs on networking with them. So I think the entire aim is to ensure that we serve the communities much better.
That's so
with
true.
limited resources that we have.
Exactly.
And you want to increase their livelihoods,
That's
add
true.
to it, and also empower the families that together they can, as a family unit, do better.
What has the result rate been for that, though? Like, most of the families that you have assisted, have there been an instance where the following year they don't need assistance anymore because they're able to stand on their own?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And with most of our families, if we do take them on and we take siblings, what happens is when we assess the situation, maybe they're doing, economically much better.
Right.
We release one child back to them and
then one you'll take
yes,
care
and then
of.
maybe we'll take two on, and then we'll continue to assess them. And maybe that child has, left school and gone on to work, and then we release another one to the family.
Okay. Well, we'll talk some more to FANS Fiji. If you just joined us once again, good to have your company. Call us up if you have questions for our guests, 3220-906 or 907. This is Speak Your Mind. Welcome once again to Speak Your Mind. Yes, continuing with the conversation with FANS Fiji, or the Foundation of the Education of Children, of Needy Children in Fiji. Now, you were talking about the working closely with the schools. Now, how has the schools responded with the assistance of FANS Fiji?
Well, it means that you have more children in school. It means that children are not being turned away from their doorstep. And I guess for the head teachers and principals that we've spoken to, at the end of the day, the more children they educate, the better result it is for them as well. So,
right.
It's holistic. It's not just about us. It's about the schools as well.
How has the children done in school, for those that have been assisted with FANS Fiji? What have the results been? Have they been really good in their schoolwork? Have they been able to pass with good marks, or is it average students? Do you also come back and look at the children's results?
Yes. We do a annual review of the entire, the situation, housing situation, or what the family, but with our children, we do a termly review. So we wait until they've had their term exams or tests, and then we ask their parents to bring in the results, and then we analyze each, We speak with the parent, then we ask, what's happening with your child? We're providing all this. Why is
he dropping?
Yes, why is their math? And we don't only look at their academic achievements, we also look at their attendance,
right.
What each teacher has commented about them, and the overall comment, is the child distracted or hasn't been coming to school?
Yeah.
Then we ask them, so it's, as it goes along, we find that the more interest that not only we do, but the parents take in their progress, the better that the children do.
Has this been something that that FANS Fiji has constantly tried? Has this affected their continuation of sponsorship come the following year?
It makes things easier for both of us. So when the parents come in, we ask them, do you need the assistance for next year? So they come in and say, okay, why and why not?
Yeah.
And often there are parents who just say, thank you, we've done well enough, we won't need the assistance anymore.
Okay. How has where does FANS Fiji get their funding from? Who are your major sponsors?
Our major sponsor at the moment is government. They gave us some money it's called the seed funding, but they've continued to assist us over the years, and we're thankful to them. We have individuals and organizations, local, and a couple from abroad who assist us in giving us money. I think last year, one individual I won't name him. He gave 50,000.
Wow.
That was great.
This was an individual from overseas.
Just an individual. He was working here.
Yeah.
So he came and he came to us and he gave us 50,000. And a couple of other corporate organizations have assisted over the time. BSP, for example, is giving us $10,000 every year. So we're thankful to them.
So most of your sponsorships are yearly sponsors. Like every year they come back and continue to sponsor or fund FANS Fiji.
Yes, there's been quite a few that have done that, year in, year out.
Yeah.
And we look forward to continuing with them and getting some new ones, of course. Funding, as you know, is always a challenge for any NGO.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, has this limited some of the programs or some of the activities that FANS Fiji would like to do further down the year?
Yeah, I mean, the more money we have, the more we can do for the communities.
Right.
For example, when Mary was talking about our volunteers going out, we have to take the bus.
Exactly.
It could be half the day just traveling by bus. We don't have any transport. I know if we have a bit more money, our extension work will cover a bit more area.
So it actually makes me believe that with FANS Fiji, most of the funding goes out to the outreach work that you do, not within the establishment itself, like vehicle-wise or other things that you need for FANS Fiji to make to make your work a little bit more easier.
Yeah, we try to spend as much money on the child as possible.
Wow,
having said that, we still have to pay for rent and
exactly. You have to have everyday running expenses as well. But for you, for FANS Fiji, it's always the children first and the establishment later. Yeah. And this is what all NGOs is all about, anyways. Yeah. But this is good. Now, tell us a little bit more about with the introduction of free education for primary and secondary school. This must have taken a whole load off of FANS Fiji this year, hasn't it?
Yes, school fees. The average we were paying per child was about $300. Mm-hmm. School fees will be anything between 100 to 120. I think some go up to around 150.
Right.
So roughly about 33% of the cost per child we were spending would go to school fees. So the government has taken that away, has shouldered all that responsibility, and we are thankful for them. And we hope they will continue to do that next year. That's given us a bit more freedom to spend on, for example, learning centers. We have set up this year.
Right.
We have three that we've established, and we want to establish another one between in the Suva corridor, because there's a bit of concentration of our children that in that particular area.
That's true.
Those are things that we still need to spend on. And apart from that, we still have to buy school bags, stationery, uniforms for the children. So they still, even though the government has taken some of the responsibility away financially, we still have to pay for some of the other items.
Sure, but you've also had the opportunity to increase your number of students that you assist with that extra money.
Yeah, we will either increase or we will expand these services to our children.
To other areas that you may need the money for.
I was talking about remedial classes. That is a very, very much needed service because you will understand that taking the children to school is one thing.
Yes.
Getting them to be able to learn is another matter.
Exactly.
The children that we assist, they come from very poor families. Often the areas, the homes they live in are not conducive to homework and studying. So we try to help them in those circumstances.
Man, that's really good. Now, whose idea was it to come up with the learning centers?
It was when the foundation started. It was
always in the pipeline.
It was also always in the plans to offer counseling, coaching, and mentoring services for the children. Only this year we were able to start establishing those. Yes.
Also, 4 years down the line, you've got 3 learning centers now. I think that you guys have come a long way.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the challenges that some of these children that have been assisted by FANS Fiji? What are some of the common problems that they have been facing, which is why FANS Fiji has had to step in with the education assistance?
Well, as Chop has mentioned, homes that are not conducive to studying outside of your normal class hours. So we found that by bringing them in to do, extra work, and they have space, they have someone to work with them one-on-one, and we provide them craft or even with tasks.
Yeah.
One thing that children need to be doing is tasks, and they don't have many other craft stuff to use. So we, through donations from Australia and from a small like Corona Women's Group, they donated like 5 huge cartons of craft supplies.
Wow.
So at these learning centers, we're able to assist children by helping them, assisting them in their tasks. And so overall, and what we also try to encourage is not just, academic, but other skills like, doing quizzes, being able to speak in public. So it's not just what they learn in the classroom, it's more than that.
Okay. Well, we'll find out a little bit more of the assistance and the services provided by FANS Fiji. So if you just joined us once again, this is Speak Your Mind. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind. Yes, with FANS Fiji, and we've got the National Program Coordinator as well as Mr. Quinny Koro, who is the Education or National Education Executive Coordinator. Now, I've also noticed, I went on some of the social media sites, and I noticed that you guys are also heavily involved with social media. Now, tell us a little bit about this. Has this made a big difference for FANS Fiji in promoting your services, but also in highlighting some of the achievements so far, Mr. Quinicoro?
Yes, we owe it to our stakeholders to keep them informed.
Right.
And as you know, social media is a very powerful tool that we use. So one of our staff of our members is totally dedicated to updating Facebook and our website, just to be sure that we're keeping our stakeholders informed. Yes, we also do our quarterly bulletins. Those go out to our funders.
Were you able to? Also, that you have been able to get funding from your social media updates.
Yeah, there's been a couple that I've seen it and
nice.
Been interested and
All right. Now, apart from, I was noticing in your statistics table, as of the 30th of April. Now, special school. Okay, that number was actually the least on the table. How does FANS Fiji go about assisting? Do you have special students assisted by FANS Fiji? Yeah.
Yes, we do. We have quite a few, not that many, not as many as hopeful. But you'll find with most of these special schools, they also have already received many forms of assistance.
Okay. That's with the public
yes.
schools.
For example, the special school in Lambasa. It's almost entirely covered, like the school fees and they're not fully funded, but they're pretty well looked after.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically they don't meet the criteria, or they don't need to meet the criteria.
We also try not to encourage, multiple, assistance, meaning if they've been assisted from somewhere else.
That's right, you do not want to. Because you could use that assistance for someone that's more needy than that person. Okay, and disabled schools, any funding for, or any help, assistance given to?
We don't have specific assistance for, just disabled. Ours is children across the board.
Okay.
So if they meet our criteria, again, they qualify. If they don't meet the criteria, and then they don't qualify.
When is normally basically not the recruitment, the registration period for FANS Fiji, for those who need assistance? When is the registration period? I believe you mentioned it was just before school.
Yeah, we changed. It used to be just before just after the Christmas break.
Right.
Then we open applications. We found that it was just too impractical because it didn't give us enough time to look at applications, get the approval done, get the panel to assist to assess the applications. It's a long process, and pay the school. So we shifted that forward to last year was the first time that we started the process in just before the end of the third term. So come September, October, we'll be starting the process again this year.
So before about September or October. Have you noticed that that's a little bit more practical?
Yes, it gives us less pressure, and then in that way we can get the panel. We have a panel that decides for us who. So we get it off because for good reasons we don't want to get involved in the process of selection.
Oh, so it's a different panel altogether that does the selecting.
Independent staff. Yeah, we get all the work done, and then we call on the panel.
How long is normally the process for? How long does it last for? From your registration to going through the panel and then to choosing or selecting the families that will go through assistance? What's the time frame?
We usually keep the applications open for 1 or 2 months, just to allow people to, have
send
an
in
opportunity. Yes, so they come in. And then once we've compiled everything, it takes another 1 or 2 weeks to select a panel.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because it's easy for us to just choose, okay, I want this one, and this one to say come on board. But it depends on their availability. So for those lot that are available, so it's somewhere between 3 months, 3 to 4 months in the entire process. So why we do it for September and October is that so come January, we're able to, look at our budget, see who, how many we can take on, and we've identified children who deservedly need to be assistance, and we try our best to have the assistance given before the beginning of term 1.
Is there a number every year, or do your number varies as the year goes along, goes by?
Yeah, we target to. It's been around about the 900,000 mark every year, and our target is to have enough funds, so we increase it by 20% every year. That of course depends on the funding.
Exactly. So that's 901,000 students.
Yes.
Wow, that's a big number. And from the time the organization is established till now, would you say it has been a consistent number, or it has increased?
It has increased from the in fact I have the numbers from the 900 to we had 952 in 2010. 2013 we had 1,138.
Wow.
This year we have just below 900. But that's
because of the education.
The education.
Education
so
scheme.
we've channeled our assistance to other, other venues like the learning centers. Who knows? It's halfway through the year. Sometimes we do have people who will come in during the year.
Right.
That's been consistently our experience over the last 3-4 years.
Now, you not only you don't only seek sponsorship in terms of funding, but you also accept donations. What are some of the stuff that FANS Fiji has been donated with, with the learning centers and stuff?
Well, basically, our entire office is almost facilitated through donations.
Nice.
So computers, desktops, even our tables and chairs, and Westpac just gave us 8 office chairs and I think 10 tables and cupboards, and so we were even able to, through that assistance, open up our learning center in the West. So,
nice. Yeah.
And not just that, but William and Gosling said, okay, we'll transport it for you for free. And then on our website, someone had posted a picture saying, oh, if only we had this camera, it would help us document much better the quality of the camera. So somebody said, okay, hang on, I'll donate your camera if you can, transport it. Then TNT came in and says, we'll transport it for free. So, it's not just donations through cash, it's through kind as well, through services. And so it's been really, and one of our the income generating projects, which comes under our family support program, Value City, they gave us 200 kilograms worth of clothes.
Nice.
Which we, got some moms to come in and distribute it to them, and they sold at the market. So, there's a lot of help coming in, and some will just tell you straight out, I can't give you cash, but, I'm willing to offer this, and this, and this. So if we can use it to multiply our services, we would, would
exactly. Why not?
Donation.
Why not? Well, we're on Speak Your Mind. We're heading into, we'll be back with our final segment. So if you have questions for our guests, feel free to call us 3220-906 or 907 or text us on 825. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind. Yes, our final segment for the day. And we're talking to Fans Fiji. Once again, our guest in studio, we were talking about contributions in not only in cash but also in kind that has assisted the Fans Fiji and also the needy children of Fiji in terms of education as well as other learning facilities. Now, you also mentioned that not only there have been staff contributed here locally, but you've also had international donations as well. How has that been over the years? Have they kind of increased as well, like the number of donations that you receive from international communities?
Yes, I think in the last 12 months or so, we've had people coming in with library books, for example.
Wow.
And they don't benefit our children directly, but library books we distribute to some of the schools that have a library. In fact, one of those schools, we helped them just set up a library because they didn't have a library. And there's a group of travel agents coming from the States who wanted to do something back to Fiji because a lot of their clients come to Fiji.
Right.
And they get their money from that. So they want to do something back for Fiji. So they're coming in June.
This
they're
year.
coming with, with school sandals, with items that will help in the school. So we're looking forward to hosting them and distributing these items to the schools that need them.
Nice. Now, it's like I said, 4th year running, almost the half-year mark. What is Fans Fiji? What are the plans that Fans Fiji have for the future of the children of Fiji?
Yeah, we want to expand our services. Of course, that always depends on money. We want to get into a bit more mentoring, coaching. Through the learning centers and through some avenues, if we can find the people. Counseling is a very, very limited skill that we have in Fiji. But if we can find we're looking for some of the ex-teachers, retired professionals who might be able to help us in that. Apart from that, we want to build up our database to be sure that we know exactly where the people that we want to serve. At the moment, we're looking for data everywhere. There's been no single data source that will tell us, look, this is really the people that matter. This is the income really that at the moment we've mentioned a income level in our criteria.
Yes, right.
We don't even know whether that is how realistic that is. So if we can get down to really being able to identify who the real people that are in need. That's what we would like to be able to have. So those are some of the things that we want to do this year.
Also,
in the next 12 months or so, yeah.
That's true.
Of course, funding is always
is always the challenge.
Thing, yeah.
It all depends on funding. Now, with the volunteer section that Fans Fiji is involved with. Now, how do the volunteers how are they able to sign up with Fans Fiji?
It's fairly simple. They basically just come in and fill out a form. So in the form, you identify which area of interest you have, what's your specialty, whether you'd like to work indoor, outdoor, in the field. So from that, we can generate which specific area to put a volunteer in. Because often you'll find most of them love the outdoors.
Right.
So that's, it's easy for us to just find, okay, this one's going to go. And then we try to match it with the needs that we have. In the most recent 5 months, we've had, I think our biggest need is in the area of our community learning centers, having, if not skilled, qualified teachers who are able to help the children in, a couple of subjects there. And one area we've found that's been a great weakness is in the sciences, getting extra help in the science division.
Yeah.
So we're really looking for, anyone who has, if not any teaching experience, someone who's had training in how to teach,
That's right, right.
So that's one of the areas we're looking for.
Nice. And they're able to sign up with Fans Fiji on your website,
yes,
I believe?
Yes.
Okay.
The forms are available on our website. They can download a website, fill it out, and send it back to us.
Well, if you're interested, make sure you check out the Fans Fiji website and sign up. Voluntary work is always something fulfilling, if you ask me. But yes, before we're wrapping up, this is our final segment, by the way. Now, what are some of the vision or objectives that Fans Fiji has in place for next year? Apart from the database, building a database, and also apart from your learning centers that you'd like to increase?
We just met in our planning session a couple of weeks ago. We have 7 objectives that we want to achieve this year. I talked about funding.
Right.
We have a target that we need to achieve. We want to build up our learning centers so that we can offer more services in terms of coaching and mentoring. We also wanted to increase the volunteers so that we have a proper structures. Get more volunteers, more volunteers in, and we want to do a bit more work on our structures to be sure that it's transparent, to do with our internal processes. We also wanted to review the work that we've done in the few years to ensure that we build on that to refine the processes and to refine some of the work procedures that we have. We also have needed to work on our manpower and HR resources. Those are the few things that we want to do in the next 12 months.
Nice. Now, you also went for, I asked you this earlier. Now, with some of the children that you have assisted, have some of them actually come back and contributed in time or in other ways to the center?
Yes. We have some university students who would come back every now and again, and basically just helping other children that under our program. And we also have some children who are in high school that just pop in, and then the usual question, what can I do?
Yeah.
But we found that by getting them to photocopy and run errands, that we're actually upskilling their experiences with us. Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll continue to do so.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're wrapping up the show, and we sure hope you enjoyed the program. But before we go, any last words from our guests in studio guests today, Mr. Quidikoro or Mrs. Fonmoa?
I'd just like to appeal to the public. We need your support. This is a cause to educate the neediest of the needy, the poorest of the poor, to be able to give them a better shot at life and increase their chances of making it in life. So if you can assist us, either through volunteer work or even giving us funding to help offer scholarships to these children, we'll appreciate that. Our books are audited by professional auditors, and we try to do our work very professionally. So
and be transparent as possible.
Yes.
Well, if you are able to assist Fans Fiji in contribution in kind or in cash, feel free to contact the Fans Fiji website, and also just contact the gentleman and also Mrs. right here on Gold FM. Well, that was Speak Your Mind for this week. Until next week, you have a pleasant day.